Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Hang on, I took a picture of it.
10 and then to 11A and B. Those are the horseshoes with all the flags represented on there. And then finally down to fence 12,
seconds.
as you can see with the water tray underneath. The bears of all
22
shapes
seconds.
and
You have your
sizes
own list here too.
Thanks.
And that's the course for round one.
It has some breeding on it, I believe.
To come a little bit later on for this Maui gym class, supported by Maui Gym.
You got a pen
Huge
out
thanks
there?
to them.
And
delighted to say, watching on, we'll be having those that are due to be a part of the new academy, the new Equestrian Academy in Langley. It is the school district sponsored academy, creating a personalised school schedule for students wishing to pursue their equine development without impacting their academic development as well. They're mentors, 4 of those here today, introducing the 4 mentors of Samantha Lamb, of Elisa Schultz, Jessie Pack and Angel Robson, that have been walking the course and giving their first insight to exactly that as they're going to see the sport at the top level. So coming up, our first in just a few moments' time, this $34,600 Maui Gym Welcome Stakes. So getting set for the build-up to our Maui Gym Welcome Stakes. Delighted to welcome West Coast Thunder as our flag bearers to bring the proceedings underway. Well, a huge thanks to West Coast Thunder starting things off based here in Langley, and delighted to welcome to the arena for the singing of the national anthem is Emily Taylor Adams.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on God for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Well, a huge thanks to Emily Taylor Adams to get things underway, and of course to West Coast Thunder as well, our flag bearers here this afternoon. Starting off day 1 of the international competitions as part of the Longines FEI World Cup week here at T-Bird, building towards that here on Sunday afternoon. Before all of that,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex Grayton, and I'm here with my wife today, Holly. And we are bringing you the $34,000 600 Maui Gym Welcome, the CSI 3-Star World Cup Week at Thunderbird Show Park in Langley, British Columbia. We have a great class lined up for us today. We've got 59 entries for this class set at 1 meter and 45 centimeters. 59 entries, that's a lot of horses to see in one class here, Holly, and it's a hot afternoon.
It is hot today. It's been hot all last week also, so we may see some of the fatigue coming into the factory here with some of these horses. It's a long course with 12 jumps. I believe we have 3 doubles out there, so we may have that come into play.
That's right, and as we wait our first competitor to enter the ring here onto the Thunderbird Clock Tower, just go quickly over the course. We start with a line on the side away from the gate, a nice roll back to a tall vertical, and then we get to the meat of the course. Right bending line to the Longines signature double, straight line to the Panda House signature oxer, right into the scoreboard in the corner. Roll back to the tall Thunderbird plank, to four short strides away from quite a wide oxer. Actually, the oxers get wide from here until the end of the course. Bending line to the Black Artisan Farms combination. 6 strides away from the tall vertical. Left roll back, and we're coming into the home stretch with just 2 more lines. We have a wide oxer to a double vertical and a bending line with some options and choices for the tall Liverpool oxer right towards the end gate. We see our first horse and rider entering the ring. This is Lisa Carlson from Calgary, and she's riding her 10-year-old bay mare, Perrette.
Perrette has really come on strong the last few years with Lisa. She bought her, I believe, as a 7-year-old, and she had foals up until then. So she, although she's 10, which would seem prime age, she's actually only had a few years of showing under her belt so far. So she's moved up quickly, I think, but Lisa's a great jockey and gives her lots of confidence.
That's right. This is a Brandenburg mare by Passoa VDL. It's a tall mare. Lisa, of course, not the tallest person herself, but she can ride a really big horse. We remember seeing her over the years, especially with the great Laboom. Come up to jump 1. Yeah, big tall jump over number 1, the Maui Gym vertical.
Yeah, I have to say, when I walked that, it walked a little bit of a dead 9 to me, so people are going to have to kind of keep them together and then roll back tight here for the time allowed. And hopefully that doesn't get them too backed off right at the beginning.
And she elected to make 9 strides into that Longines double as well, and she's sitting on a lot of scope. We saw Perrette use that nicely at the A element of the combination at number 4.
I think this spot here is a good spot for time allowed, that roll back.
That plank is tall coming out of that corner. Big wide effort there.
We'll have to keep count of these wider bending lines and just see for time allowed. Maybe that's a place to make up some time.
You'd expect with 59 entries in a 1 meter 45 class that time should be a factor. Minimize the clear rounds. And these horses have all been jumping last week as well. Many of them returning in really great form, so
it's a tough job as a course designer to build for that many horses on Wednesday in the 145, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. We see there that one-time fault catching up with Lisa. She did 8 strides coming home to the Liverpool oxer. When we walked that course, we thought maybe there is a 7 there if the time becomes a factor. Lisa, of course, it's a tough job to go first in the ring as well, and she knows she doesn't have the quickest moving horse across the ground. Jumps great up in the air.
Yeah.
That one-time fault.
And 74.65, and our time allowed is 72. So I don't know if we'll see them extend that out.
Be interesting. We've got a couple here to monitor the time. I think next up is America's Cara Anthony riding Cloud VA. It's a Clearway gelding out of an Endoctro Mother Holsteiner breeding. We'll see if Cara can challenge the time a little bit. After you see the first rider go in with a time fall, your job as the second and third riders there is to see if you can effect a change a little bit. You want to be able to get under that time allowed, but at the same time you definitely don't want to risk that and have 4 faults down just trying to be fast under the time. The judges do have some leeway to extend that time.
Yeah, that's a boxy 9 for a first line, I have to say.
Definitely. So we're going to have to make sure that the riders stay patient, not getting ahead of themselves thinking about that time.
So she did 8 there, and was that where Lisa did 9?
Lisa did 9 there, so we do see one less stride, and that horse, of course, cleared the oxer with no problem at all. Lisa definitely got stalled up at that 4A. We'll see if that becomes the pattern, doing 8 into that first combination. A little quicker through the rollback to the plank. The horses have to, of course, be sharp and curl up and over.
We've seen Kara at this level on so many different horses. She has a varied experience for sure, and I would say she's had this horse a little over a year, yeah?
Yeah, and I do think this is a move up for the horse. I think we're going to see Kara again later with a horse that we've come to know a little bit more.
Oh, big one there. Oh, this is boxy 6. Oh, it came back nice.
Count to the last.
8 again.
Also the 8 strides and that front rail coming down there.
Front rail, yeah.
We do have one time fault. 74.24 is only half a second quicker than Lisa Carlson. Definitely looked like Kara was covering the ground quicker, making more efficient track at the beginning, and I think towards the end maybe took a little wider turn back to the CWD oxer, and that horse certainly covers the ground just as slow as our first horse, if not slower.
That last jump's tricky too with those natural rails, and I don't know if our viewers can see it, but the Liverpool that's under that jump has fake grass on the outside of it, so some of those horses may not see that it's a Liverpool until they're just leaving the ground, and that could cause them to peek down at that maybe.
That's right, and I think that's the course designer's trick with the natural rails. The rails are nothing really special to look at. It's easy to draw the eye down. Next up, we've got local girl, Laura Jane Tidball, riding Prim de l'Hérault. We've seen Laura Jane and Prim have a lot of success at Thunderbird Show Park and actually all across the continent. Prim now 13 years old, French breeding.
And Prim's actually out of a trotter mother. Sometimes you can see that come out in his canter.
And there's 9 strides to 4A. Definitely slower when you get there at 4A than opting for the 8. Prim's in great form.
LJ's done a great job with this horse, developing it since it was a young horse. I'm not exactly sure how old it was when they bought it, but I think she's done all the work on it with the help, obviously, of Brent and Laura.
Little stutter there. Back nicely for the 6 after that Artisan Farms double. I think time allowed now as we roll back to the wide CWD oxer. And Laura Jane did a nice job. And 5 strides, nice one, and we'll see her count now. And eye on the clock here, pushing through 71.07, no faults at all. So Laura Jane makes it a second under the time allowed. It'd be interesting to see if the judges opt to change that. I would assume not.
Especially with the number we were going to see today.
Absolutely, and that didn't look like Laura Jane really had to push herself. Just a little efficient here and there, but that didn't look like she was riding a speed class to make it, so I imagine we'll see that time stay. Coming in the ring next, we've got Jennifer Gates, riding the 12-year-old gray gelding Lufticus S. This gelding by Levisto, famous horse with Julianne Melchior, the Zangerside breeding, out of a Colibri mother.
Jennifer's so fun to watch come up. She's has some great horses under her and some really great team members for her, but she always seems to really appreciate her horses and give it her best.
Absolutely, and this is a great horse. We watched this horse a little bit in the summer series at Spruce Meadows. We saw it here before.
That was a nice 9, how she almost put a little bend in it so she could ride up out of it and it didn't get dead out.
That was for sure the best version of the 9 strides we've seen yet. We see her kicking on, thinking 8 into this combination.
They do always seem to mount her on big strided horses.
Absolutely. That's the feeling you want to have when you're looking at these big jumps. You want to make sure you have the powerful feeling under you. And just a little quick off the ground out of that short turn back to the plank. She had the right idea. Horse just stayed a little low and flat off the ground. Nicely out of the Artisan combination. For what is clearly a small horse, it definitely has a really large stride, woeing all the way in 6 after the combination.
Interesting to count her here. She does the 7. Nope.
No, 8, but really close in 8, and we see now the back pull coming into effect. She was trying, she was slowing all of the last 4 strides, but just couldn't quite get him back enough. That
She
back
was
rail
in the
coming
time
down.
also?
In the time, definitely, that's a quicker moving horse. That's the quickest moving horse we've seen so far compared to the first 3. And I think her track was about right. That's what we'd expect every. So Jennifer ending up with 8 faults and a time of 71.33. Under that time allowed. And then we have now our next competitor, Gareth Graves, as he salutes.
This is a move up for him, I believe. I don't think he jogged last week.
That's right, exactly. This is Billy Puka. It's an Anglo-European studbook horse. It's a bay mare by Choco Blue out of a Cannon mother. Interesting to see the breedings. We're going to see a lot of similarities pop up here. We're going to see a lot of horses by some popular stallions, and Choco Blue and Cannon is a nice combination if you're looking at really large Grand Prix jumps.
And he again was able to ride up, and I think that's the way to get out of there so that you kind of land with some momentum and get into this course a bit.
That's right. So we might not see Gareth worrying too much about the time allowed with this move up for this new horse. Gareth's had this horse for maybe a year, certainly not for too long. Great young horse that he bought.
Oh, he
Nice
was off
reach.
that one a little bit.
Yeah. I think out of that short turn to the plank, they curl up and over, and even though the 4-stride walk's fairly normal, I think it's going to ride a little bit forward.
They were riding that line earlier in the day the other direction, and the 4 got a little bit steady to the plank, but the other way, it sure does change it.
Absolutely. Gareth's having himself a really nice trip here for this young horse. So 5 faults to total score for Gareth. Nice young mare here, Billy Puka. Expect to see that one a lot in the future, actually.
So we're going to see NAL next. He was our big winner twice last week. Not on this horse. Lordan both times, yeah?
That's right, exactly. So here he is with Baraka. It's a 9-year-old bay gelding, Oldenburg gelding by Lordanos out of a Landor S mother.
Lordanos is the sire of his other good horse, Lordan. Is that right?
Exactly. So Niall clearly having a bit of a trend here.
I know Niall really likes to develop his young horses. I think he's had this one at least 2 years, and he really likes to bring them along himself.
Absolutely. It's been nice to see him to take this one along. It is the brother of Lordan, a horse that Niall's had so much success with. Similar type. This one is just as small, really.
Is it?
Right.
Oh, that's a shame of a jump to have down, really.
And Baraka thought so as well. Nice rollback back into work. And in spite of the early rail, for a nice young horse like this, it's a great opportunity to get practice and experience over jumps this big. 9 years old, sort of entering the prime of his career, learning how to jump and really be a Grand Prix horse, fill in the huge footsteps of Lordan.
This is a tough enough course, too, with a lot of questions in it, so I think that even with the one down at the beginning, he'll learn a lot from the experience of a more meaty course. Looks a touch spooky around this course, actually, looking outside.
Niall opting for 6 strides into the gymnastic here. And well ridden. Now, big push coming home, maybe after doing the 6, backed up nicely for the combination, and then he kind of had to ride the whole way home to that Liverpool, and horse just got a little bit flat on him there. So 9 faults is the total score, just over that time allowed at 72.43 for Baraka and Niall.
And now that we're past that 3-horse mark, they've elected to leave our time allowed at 72 seconds, it looks like. So they're going to have to be efficient. They're going to have to ride a forward course around the ends and make up their time as much as they can. We have Tambla and Carl Cook coming in next. Carl and this horse I believe it was this horse. We're jumping the Grand Prix last week, and I think it was his other horse that he was 8th placed on. Is that correct?
That's right, and Temla did jump clear in the earlier Grand Prix competition last week, the CSI 3-star week. And actually, Carl with Temla was named on the U.S. team for the Nations Cup here earlier this year at Thunderbird Show Park.
And that was his first team experience.
Absolutely, delivered a clutch clear round, I think, in the second round. Carl and Temla. He bought Temla from Michelle Rodell, a California rider.
That's right.
Michelle bought the horse from Stahl Hendricks in Europe several years ago now, but this is a 12-year-old mare now by Tangelo out of a Cavalier mother.
It is interesting how time flies. I think I remember this horse, it seems not that long ago in the young horse classes.
Absolutely. And Carl made the 9 strides. All the scope, all the power. I don't think you have to question. You could do 9, you could do 10 if you wanted to. Light touch on the back rail there at the Panda House. Carl, of course, training with the legendary Eric Neve, previous world champion, rider of the famous French stallion Quito de Bossy. Carl makes a turn back here on the CWD Oxer. Coming for home now. Big push there across.
We're going to be close on time.
And the A element coming into play. And Carl kicks on to do the leave out in 7. I think just trying to be quick there on that last line, trying to be a fast 4.
Yeah,
Flattened out
and
off the
just under our time allowed.
Yeah. Well, 8 faults the total score, 71.64 the time for Carl Cook and Temla.
Here comes Sam Buer. She's a local rider here in Langley on Sid the Kid. They've spent a lot of time in this ring. These classes are definitely a step up for him. He's maybe only been jumping at this level one year, last year.
Last year, I think, was his first year stepping into this. And, I mean, this is a big horse with all the scope, all the raw abilities that you could want. See, on this horse, actually, you can see he wears a shadow roll. That's the sheepskin cover on the noseband. It's a spooky horse, Sid. Spooky horse. So this helps keep his attention, keep his focus up, not letting him look down too much, getting distracted by things under him like a spooky jump,
That's
like number
right.
1.
And this line will be hard for him going along the crowd there.
Absolutely, and she pushed on and made 8 strides look like that should be the count, really.
Right. And that's definitely a wider track than we've seen anyone else take back to number 3.
That's right.
Oh. Deep there.
Closer than I know that she wishes she was at 4A, but so much power. He jumps over the standards behind out of that spot.
You know, when we talk about developing young horses too, Sam's had this horse since it was 4 years old, and she's done all the work herself. He's a bit of a tough nugget with his spooky tendency, but he's got a lot of scope to spare, and I know that she relies on that a lot.
So yeah, especially if he's going to be spooky like that. It's nice to know that even if he makes his life hard, he actually has all the talent to get out of that.
That's right. It's unfortunate there. Sometimes I think she has to push past for the spook, and then he'll have the A or the front rail of something.
We'll see if he can correct that error. Stay focused on A.
That's right. Nice.
Well done.
That's a hard
correction.
combination for a horse that big.
That's a shame. With Liverpool, sometimes a bit of a thing for this horse. Sam had to ride that with enough pressure to make sure that he stayed focused on the job and didn't get distracted. So that front pole coming down as well. 14 faults to total. So 12 jumping faults, and she had 2 time faults. So she was 77.02, just 2 100ths over 77 seconds there. So 2 time faults for Sam. She did take a wider track than we have seen before, taking her time with her young horse. Even though he's 10, we've seen some younger horses. He's definitely green. Sam taking her time to produce this nice horse. Next in the ring, we're going to see Lauren Crooks riding the 8-year-old Dutch-bred mare Dora the Explorer by VDL Douglas out of a Tangelo van de Zoethoven mother.
I sure love that name.
Absolutely. Dora goes exploring at the Maui Gym Jump, coming down to number 1. Up and over, and that's not the first horse we've seen shift away from the crowd over top of number 1. Can be tough for these horses jumping, starting the course right against the VIP tent.
think something our viewers may not be able to totally appreciate is just how short Lauren is. She rides a lot of big horses. She rides a lot of small horses, actually, also. And she sure has an effective position and is a strong rider.
Very strong rider, yeah. Turning back to the tall plank.
She's definitely not someone you want to walk these courses beside.
Lauren working, getting Dora's attention back. Big push over B there. That back rail does come down.
Yeah, maybe a little too quiet into that double and didn't have quite the push to get out.
Those black poles can be difficult. They can be deceiving for the horse to focus on. See now 5 strides.
Oof.
Losing
Tried
shape
hard there.
just a little bit, but tried really hard. It stays up. And that front pole
shame.
does come down. Light touch behind there for Dora the Explorer and Lauren Crooks. 8 faults. They do sneak under that time allowed just at 71.79. So still just a 1 clear. That was Laura Jane Tidball and Prim de Leroux. The only one to make it under the time allowed and leave all the jumps up. We do have Lisa Carlson currently sitting in second with just 1 time penalty.
You know, you'd like to say that this time allowed is what's causing some of these rails, but I have to say after walking it, it's a tough enough track out there with the 3 doubles and all these questions in the lines of making, you know, the 5 or the 6 or the 8 or the 7. And
it's quite a windy course, and there's no doubt about it. There are a lot of rollbacks, a lot of options for riders and horses to get slightly distracted. Lots of decisions to make. There are some good segments of the course, but a lot of rollbacks in between each segment. We'll move along now. We've got American rider Jeff Kampf riding the 11-year-old Gray Gelding Wordsworth 2. It's a relatively new horse for Jeff. We saw this horse first earlier in the year at Thunderbird Show Park. He stepped into the Grand Prix division with Wordsworth. It's a nice type. Nice, beautiful gray gelding. Jumped some great clear rounds in May and June here.
I've noticed Jeff's mom, Claudia Kochkar, helping him a little bit this week. She's a great advocate for the sport. She's been around a long time and knows everything there is to know.
Jeff making 9 strides to that Pandau's Oxer, getting just parked under that. That front pole does come down, sitting on 4 faults.
9's an interesting choice. I thought it walked right on the 8. Well, he's picking up the pace now.
Tall Thunderbird plank did come down as well, sitting on 8 now. Jeff making the rollback now for the CWD wide Oxer with enough power. We'll see what he elects to do.
That's a shame. Sometimes you see these riders, they have one down and they shift gears to be maybe a fast 4, and then it can fall apart a little bit.
Absolutely. And again, the front pole of that last Oxer coming down. That's quickly becoming the pattern of the class. So Jeff finishing on 17 faults. So 4 rails coming down and 1 time fault. Time of 73.42. Just over that time allowed. 72 seconds still.
And we still only have 1 clear round to speak of. That's Laura Jane and Prim. And Lisa Carlson follows up with a clear round, but 1 time penalty.
Here we have a past winner here at Thunderbird Show Park. This is Ray Texel. He rides Baldira, an 11-year-old chestnut mare by Balube de Rouet out of a Cartago mother.
This is a great horse for Ray. He rode this horse all last year and maybe a little bit of the year before. And it was momentarily in someone else's hands, and he's got the ride back. It seems he has the most success with it so far.
Yeah, happy to have him back. I think Ray and Baldira, it's a great type, great match for Ray. And they've won so many classes already in their short time together.
Ray's best success has always been on a little bit sensitive mare, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. We all remember Fleur, the old days with Fleur. And that great Balube de Rouet canter. It looks exactly like
It
it.
sure does.
Definitely no issue keeping the energy up when he waits for the 9 strides. This mare is just ready to go.
Oh. 10.
And Ray ends up making 10 strides.
He definitely planned to stay out probably for the 9 and then got into 10 by accident.
That's right. With a little trip there, but worked out just fine. Again, this is one of those really scopy horses that if you get into some trouble, still so much power to help you out. Nicely into that 4 stride.
Had to move up out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see Ray in that 1 stride. You could see him go to push. And the horse, I don't think, quite matched the push from Ray there. A little caught up, both poles coming down. So sitting on 4 faults.
He's not changing gears. He's sticking to the plan here.
Absolutely. And we see him challenge the double verticals in preparation for the next class. And Baldier not going to make another mistake there. Yeah, nicely up and over that last vertical or oxer there.
He's
One
smart,
time
that
fault.
Ray.
Absolutely. Do have 1 time fault coming down.
9 penalties. We haven't seen any 4 falters with no time faults.
That's right.
So we've still got 1 with 0 penalties and 1 with 1 time penalty. We're going to hope to get a couple more clears here. I'm guessing the course designer would like maybe 10.
I think 10 would be a great number out of 59 starters.
This is Uma O'Neill. She rides with Ray Texel, so he may have spoken a few words to her on the way out about his thoughts on the course. How long has she had this horse? This isn't the one she went to Young Riders on.
This is a relatively new one. This is Sotelo. This is a 9-year-old stallion by Coolidge out of a Quinnar mother. Holsteiner breeding here. I asked Ray about the horse earlier this week. I saw the horse in a warm-up ring. It's quite a beautiful horse. It's really eye-catching. Up and over number 1. Uma turns back to number 3. Little discussion of the rideability around the corner to 3 there, but back on track here.
No question of the scope, though. Holy.
Absolutely. Seven strides to that Panda House after the combination.
So we're seeing lots of different choices out here. Shame.
Made that 4 stride almost too easily. Ran out of room for that front rail at
Well, again, a
Oxer.
little discussion there about where they're headed on course.
Certainly you can see all the qualities you wish to have in a Grand Prix horse in this pair.
Absolutely. Uma was a young rider too. Like we said, she went to Young Riders last year. So she'll be green at this level. Nice to have so much scope to sit on.
Absolutely. Coming to the last now, big Oxer number 12. Up and over clear there.
Jumps that easy.
12 faults, 12 jumping faults, and we do have 2 time faults, 76.56, so just 4.5 seconds over the time allowed. Still only have 4 riders under the time allowed at all. Time is definitely a factor. However, the ones that did make it under the time did not seem to struggle too much. Matter of a stride here or there, I think. Next up, we have Canadian rider Ben Asselin. Rides the 10-year-old bay stallion Veyron by Conterno Grande out of a Heartbreaker mother, owned by the Attaché Stables.
This has been such an impressive horse. New ride-ish for Ben. He started in Wellington with it this winter. He had some great success in Mexico this year.
Absolutely winning the 4-star Grand Prix in Mexico. Coming here to Thunderbird Show Park for the May and June shows right away after on the Canadian Nations Cup team. Excellent clear round in the second round for Canada.
I think Ben was heavily considered for going on to the Olympics this year. It's Ben's a young rider, and we have some strong riders this year, so wasn't his year, but we'll for sure see him at many Olympics in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben's such a strong rider. Lots of Nations Cup experience already, despite his young age. And this horse came from Russian rider Lubov Kochetova. May remember seeing the horse with Lubov in Florida in previous years.
You know, we talk a lot about developing these horses, but Ben as a rider is has been developed by his dad, his Olympic father, and a very horsey family. They've really gone through the process. He went through Young Riders. He was double gold at Young Riders a few years back. So as a rider, he's really developed, and he's right on schedule.
Absolutely, yeah. Easy now for the double. Yeah, well ridden. I think he was perhaps coming in a little hot for that 5-stride to the combination, and that front pole catching up with him.
And a time fault.
The last half of the course, it looked like Veyron was pushing through the bridle a little bit, and just caught up with him on 2 occasions here. But not a bad round. This horse has returned to this level after a brief break here over the summer. So 9 faults to score for Ben and Veyron, looking back in form. We'll see. I'm sure we'll see Ben later on this week in future FEI competitions. Coming in the ring next is Sarah Happy, American rider. She's riding Ludwig's Joker B, 11-year-old bay gelding, owned by the HC Sport Horses. Seen Sarah with Ludwig earlier this year at Thunderbird Show Park in the May and June shows. She had some good success, jumped some great rounds in Grand Prix with Ludwig. Definitely a different type. It's interesting to see so many different types of horses competing at this level. From Veyron, beautiful classical stallion. Ludwig, a leaner type, built more uphill.
Absolutely, the type of horse can definitely vary, and I would say if you spoke to the riders, they would probably all tell you a little bit different what they like in their horses. Oh, a little play there.
Playful from Ludwig here. See the rider starting to take a little wider track from 3 until 4.
A lot of these questions should level out too, the more that these riders are watching people go before them.
2 down in a row. First time we've seen 4B come down, and then that front rail at the Pendow's Oxer comes down yet again. See Sarah put the shapes back together and finish a nice round for setup for the future of this week. Definitely getting strong now. See all 6 strides after that combination. Ludwig and Sarah on a different page there. Yep, back on track now.
Well, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Langley, BC. A perfect day for the Maui gym welcome, wouldn't you say?
I've got my Maui gyms with me right now.
Me too. These top 8 riders will be receiving not only their prize money, but also a pair of glasses fit to them by the Maui gym people that are on site today.
A good finish for Sarah and Ludwig's Joker B. Definitely not the round they were hoping to have, but I think they worked through some things that needed working. Ending up with 16 faults total, including time penalties at 87.92 for the circle. This time faults, of course, 1 per 4 seconds. Commenced 4 seconds over the time allowed. Next up, we have the first of our Mexican riders. This is Patricio Pascual. He rides Candela, an 11-year-old bay mare by Cornet Obolensky, Oldenburg breeding. Patricio, of course, also the owner. Cornet Obolensky, this is very popular breeding. We're going to see a few more by Cornet Obolensky even in this class, but the recent Rio Olympic Games, I think Cornet Obolensky was the popular choice for a sire of an Olympic horse.
Interesting, he rides up there in the 9.
That's right, we also see a way different bridle setup here for Patricio and Candela, heck of it. An inside track coming to the Longines double.
He's getting his time allowed taken care of early, I would think.
That's right. Very quickly around this corner now.
He challenged that careful plank.
Yeah, absolutely, and got up to that Oxer. This is a nice quality horse. Seems to know the job. And Artisan double catches another one. This time the A element. The horse cut down A little bit early with the hind end.
Shame.
Horse really setting up for that combination. 8 strides right under, but the horse Candela made an excellent effort to leave up that last oxer at number 12. So 8 faults the total score. We do see that Patricio's earlier fast riding in the beginning part of the course does pay off, as he does slip under the time allowed at 70.06 seconds. That might even be our fastest round so far. But of course those 2 rails do come down. Come back again. A couple of horses. He has one more for this competition today.
I see Gareth Graves again. This is again a move up. I don't believe this horse jogged last week either.
That's right. Gareth has a couple of really nice young horses at the moment. This is an 8-year-old gelding by Berlin. This is Durantos, Dutch bred gelding, Berlin Abantos. And Jillian Helena, great support.
I think that's maybe a little bit of a fault of that boxy 9. They kind of don't get going, don't get galloping, don't get their focus on the course until after number 3. Oop, that was a big one in there. Handles
That
it
served
fine.
him well. That made the 4-stride ride actually quite nice for this small horse. A little rub there on B, but it does stay up.
You know, Gareth himself is actually quite green at this level. He had the great horse Babette that moved him up into the Grand Prix last year and the year before. But he's still, for how green he is at this level, he makes a lot of great choices out there.
Absolutely. Gareth rides quite a lot. He rides a... Do see some riders electing to ride without their show coats. It is quite a warm day here, above 30 degrees, so...
You can see a little bit the wear on the field from the hot weeks that we've had here. The course designers have done a really great job of moving them even between the small classes earlier in the day, even if they just... And so they've done a great job, I think. They're also watering this grass every night.
Again, that back rail, the CWD Oxer comes down. Deep in the course, out of a rollback, heading in towards a gymnastic combination. I think the riders are just as surprised as the horses to see that back rail come up, and we do see number 12 coming down as well. Front rail of that Liverpool Oxer. So 8 faults total there for NAL. 71.01 the time.
You know, though, for a young horse to stay in the time allowed in that tough of a course, he shouldn't be unhappy with that. Our next rider is just not quite in the ring just yet. I have to say, I don't know this fellow at all.
Mark Grog, Mark has been in Thermal. He's from California. He rides for the Moon Beach LLC here. Oh, we are skipping. Maybe it's possible Mark pulled a shoe. We are moving on. We have Alejandro Mills is coming in next, actually. We see there with Bartender. This is a 10-year-old stallion by Cardento. Dutch-bred stallion Cardento. Contender. Alejandro rides for Armando Acevedo. See Armando Acevedo riding in the amateur division also this week. And Alejandro handling the reins for the Grand Prix courses. This is Bartender. Riding for Mexico.
Cardento Contender. Great breeding in this stallion.
Make 8 strides from 1 to 2 look easy. Not the biggest horse, but definitely a lot of range in the stride. Eight easy strides to 4 AB. Setting him up to make 8 to the Panda House Oxer towards the scoreboard. Makes for nice rollback here to the Thunderbird plank. Tall and airy, careful jump. Really can't touch that one.
No, it had the front rail behind there.
I think riding away from that plank, got caught up riding away, lost the balance just off the ground. The horse just got a little quicker. Nicely set up in the 6 strides after the Artisan Farnes combination. Turn back to the CWD Oxer. Again, the back pole.
It's hard to say why that's coming down so much, but I definitely think the heat and the fatigue of the course could be playing a role by that point.
I think so, and I think when you walk the course and you see 5 flat strides to a double vertical combination, you want to get started early, setting that up, but to make sure the horse is finished that oxer. We have 9 faults total. Scorer Alejandro does exceed the time allowed. 74.20 was the time, so 9 faults total there for Alejandro Mills and Bartender.
So we're on our 21st horse, and we still only have the
Fletcher and William L.
Oh.
We've seen William and Lindsay competing here at Thunderbird Show Park for years. And unfortunately, the first 2 jumps coming down, so we'll see if Lindsay can get the wheels on here for William.
Lindsay, I believe, only has this one horse at this level too, and that can, you don't get the practice that you really like to get if you could have a second or a third one. This horse is also 15 years old. It might be our oldest horse out here today, so she probably has to use him sparingly because of his age also.
That's right. We see the plank, the tall Thunderbird plank coming down as well. Lindsay and William currently on 12 faults. Nicely through the artisan double.
He sure does give her a good effort when he can.
Absolutely. There we have a great effort over the CWD oxer. Definitely puts a lot more stress getting back for the 5 strides, but that was really well done. And again, the front pull of that last Liverpool. Patience is key here for that last oxer. Coming home, the horses are of course magnetized. All their friends are waiting at the gate. It's been a long round already. It's a hot day. Everyone wants to just leave the ring, really. 17 faults a total score. For sure not Lindsay's favorite option here, but they'll be back for another day with William L. And we have one of the Canadian riders who's on perhaps the biggest role of them all at the moment with this horse. This is Brenda Riddell and Dutch Amaretta. Brenda and Dutch Amaretta jumped clear every class they did last week in the Grand Prix division.
Careful you don't jinx her.
Really great start to the week for Brenda. Up and under in 9 strides, 1 to 2. We're going to see Brenda come back later with Wilson as well. So this is her first one. She's going to take some of the information she gets from this course and apply that to her next horse, which is a way different type of ride. Dutch Amaretta, an 11-year-old mare by Dutch Capital. Brenda's had great success all across North America with this horse. Jumped some really big classes at Spruce Meadows. Of course, lots of competitions here at Thunderbird Show Park. That back rail coming down on the B element of Artisan Farms combination. That's a shame. Just a really light rub. And then we see enough scope there to cover the back rail, no problems at all.
Such a careful mare.
Absolutely. Yeah, and up and over that final fence. So just the 4 faults there. She sneaks under the time allowed as well. 71.52 her time. So Brenda slips into 4th place as our second 4-faulter, really, right behind Gareth. Shame to have the rail, but otherwise quite a nice round for Brenda and Dutch Amaretta. That'll be a nice setup for the rest of the week. We do have 2 other FEI competitions this week. We have a speed competition on fire on Sunday.
Yep, lots of jumping to come yet this week, that's for sure. Brendan is sitting in 4th place with that 4-fault round, still with just the 1 clear and the 1 with the 1-time penalty. So we're definitely hoping to see some more clear rounds here.
We'll move on now. The first of 2 rides here for Carrie Roofer, American rider for the Morningstar Sport Horses. She rides Lotta, 10-year-old black mare. Bylandor S out of a Graf Granus mother. This is Hanoverian breeding.
Carrie's recently been buying some horses to get her string of horses a little bit deeper, so she's getting a lot more practice in the ring than she has in years past. She had that great gray gelding for the longest time, and then just in the last couple of years I think she has 5 now at this level.
That's right. Nice efficient rollback to 3. Carrie Has had Lotta actually for a little while now, so trust that tight turn back. That should help her concerns with time allowed for later in the course.
Carrie's also been riding with Rich Fellers the last year and a half or 2 years, and you know that Rich doesn't believe in time faults.
No, they're very efficient in their course walk. They know exactly what they need to do, and for sure that was a discussion before she came in, making sure that care was taken not to waste time at the beginning. Reach, a little Superman reach for the back rail at the Artisan Farms Oxer. Lotta perhaps could have jumped a little bit higher. That back rail coming down, sitting on 4 faults for Carrie. And we see the same effort at the CWD Oxer, just reaching for the back pole. A nice finish there for Carrie and Lotta. Again, Carrie will be back in a few horses with her second horse, so she's going to take some of that information. She was way under the time allowed, 69.28. That's the fastest round we've seen, so there may be places she can take a little more time and set up those combinations in that big wide Oxer at fence 10, CWD Oxer. Move along now. We've got the first of 2 rides for Antonio Maurer. This is Cartier, 11-year-old bay gelding by Cartoon Oldenburg Gelding. Antonio rides for Alejandro Plasencia, good supporter of the sport from Mexico.
You know, we've actually seen some high scores today, but I would say, as the course designers call it, they've been mostly soft faults. You know, these horses are just touching things or just coming but down on the back rail, but not that these lines are getting them into real trouble so far.
That's right. We've seen Antonio with good success with Cartier. I believe he had just 1 down on the Grand Prix on Sunday here at Thunderbird Show Park. Otherwise, great round. Antonio, it's interesting to see different styles of riders as well. We see Carrie with the American style of riding that's quite forward. And we have Antonio. It's a different style for sure. He sits down quite a bit more. His hands are quite a bit higher. But great connection with the horse. His horses always seem to jump really in great form.
That goes back a little bit to what we were talking about, different types of horses that these riders like, but also different kinds of rides that these horses like. Not every one of these horses is going to go great for every rider. It's really about the match. Antonio historically likes these sort of bigger, moving, scopier horses.
We'll see him later on a horse that's even bigger and even scopier than the one he's sitting on right now. After seeing 24 on our list.
Now we're going to see Lisa Carlson come back on her second horse, and this horse could not be a bigger contrast to the one we just saw.
Absolutely, yeah. This is World's Judgment. It's a 13-year-old Dutch-bred mare by Judgment. Of course, a world-famous Judgment himself is a really... It's when you look at it, when you look at her, you wonder how it's possible, and then you see her jump, and you realize it really is possible. Lisa and World's Judgment here. We're going to tackle the course here. So Lisa's already ridden the course, but as you say, it's such a different horse. Lisa's first horse, Perrette, who is our only time faulter at the moment, currently sitting in 3rd. That's a big, slow, rangy horse, and now World's Judgment is the opposite. Quick, small, quicker across the ground, quicker in the air, quicker everywhere.
I think we'll see Lisa make some tighter turns for sure. Sometimes this horse, she has to get, you know, running a little bit to build the scope in, and that can get her into a little bit of trouble in these lines. She's an argumentative thing.
Yeah, see that back hind rail there at the vertical number 3. It's a shame the horse shaking her head through that corner, at least having to make one last-minute add. Yeah, up and over. It's surprising scope when she leaves the ground.
It is, and this 4th stride here will be a little bit of test, I think. Tall vertical, and have to really get down there.
Oh, she made that easy work. Well done. Now we see the combination. This back rail has come into play a little bit.
Yeah, it does again.
It does again, yeah. A rub there. We'll see Lisa organize.
Oh, quite organizing.
Lisa
going out wide.
Lisa feeling the World's Judgment maybe not on our game here today. There's more jumping to be done this week, so it's not just about today. It's also set up for the rest of the week.
That's right.
Really well done in that combination.
You see Lisa there also riding with a wrap on her leg. She has a bit of a groin injury from earlier this year that I think she's managing as best she can. I haven't really seen her ride many other horses besides her own horses.
Yeah, that's right. Lisa and Dayton operate a big business out of Calgary. And with Lisa, one of the riders, of course, off with this groin injury. She is definitely only sticking with her own two here this week. So 9 faults the total score there for Lisa. Gets that time fault. She took a little extra time rolling back to the CWD Oxer.
Now it says Tina Delandry on our list, but she's a Tina Yates now, isn't she?
That's right. Tina and Jonathan recently married. So Tina Yates now, as she rides for the High Point Farm. This is Zalot VDL. It's a 12-year-old by Chin Chin out of a Libero H mother.
You know, this is such a popular horse show. We have to send our entries in. I believe it's February 1st. Maybe they weren't even married by then and they didn't want to jinx it.
That's right. Tina's got some of the prettiest horses on the showgrounds. She comes down to the number 1 vertical, the Maui Gym signature jump.
She's matching in her beautiful style. It's very hard to fault her. She's a very still rider. Horses jump up great for her.
Terrific power over that Oxer at number 2. Nine strides to the Longines combination.
This is a Chin Chin Libero H. That's a little bit old breeding.
Definitely see the size, stocky build from the Chin Chin. I'm going to see less and less Libero, I think, in the pedigree as we move on. Libero has some really fantastic sons for breeding nowadays. From Numero Uno, it's a Canadian horse, Icun, Ustinov. See a lot of stallions by Libero H now.
That was quite nice balance, and it got very careful there for her at the vertical.
That back rail of the Artisan combination coming down, so sitting on the 4 faults here for Tina Yates.
God, you'd love to ride this one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll add that to the list. Yeah, back rail again. A little bit of pressure coming up, challenging things a lot at the front rail there, which he met that challenge nicely, but just cut down on the back side. So 9 faults total after the 2 rails and 1 time fault for Tina Yates and Zalot VDL. Moving on now, Canadian rider. This is Laurie Jameson from Alberta. She rides KVF Zeno, a 12-year-old chestnut stallion, Dutch-bred stallion by Quattro, out of a Berggraf mother.
Laurie bought this horse as a 3-year-old from Europe, developed it herself, was a hunter for actually quite a long time, and it just seemed out of nowhere she decided to jump the Grand Prix on it. Sure has a lot of scope and a lot of try for her.
Yeah, absolutely. You see the bigger type, the bigger body build as well from the Berggraf mother again here. Chestnut, of course, coming from the Quattro sire. And Laurie coming up to jump 1.
She does a lot of breeding with this stallion too. He obviously has quite good character to be able to breed and compete in the same year. And I think a lot of his foals are showing his same scope and his same great character.
And Laurie taking the earlier track to make 8 strides to that combination, suiting her horse just nicely.
You know, Laurie lives up in close to Red Deer, and she doesn't get a lot of opportunity to practice at this level, and she's the first one to be hard on herself, and she sure loves her horses.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
She had a great stallion to cord that was not dissimilar from this one. Maybe a bit more blood, but a little bit heavy type, tons of scope.
And Thunderbird plank coming down for Laurie, sitting on 4 faults now. Big push for the CWD Oxer, no issue there. Working to get him back. Well done in the gymnastic. Just 1 to go. Time for sure going to be a bit of an issue as well, yeah. 72.59 as she finishes there. So 1 time fault in that front rail of the last Oxer again coming down. We see Zeno playing a little bit there. So 9 faults total score for Laurie and KVF Zeno. Yeah, here we have riding for Sweden. This is Matthias Eckeroth, based in California, as he comes with his first horse. This is Da Carlos, an 8-year-old gelding by Verdi, Dutch-bred gelding.
Verdi was at the Olympics this year with rider Michael van der Vleuten.
That's right. Verdi qualified for the final day. One of the best jumping horses leading into the final day, actually. Verdi, that was his second Olympic Games, no less, so quite an excellent horse for sport, as he himself is only 14 years old, so he might still have some years left in him with 2 Olympic Games under his belt. Just seems to keep getting better.
He sure is coming on strong as a breeding stallion, too. We'll see probably a few more Verdis in the next few years. They're still a little young.
Absolutely, and here we have Matthias is a tall man, but this is not a big horse, which is sometimes common. Oddly enough, Verdi is such a big horse, can throw a rather small horse. Great blood in this horse. Is a nice type for sport. As an 8-year-old, you have to assume that this is a move up for De Carlos with Matthias. Not a lot of experience at meter 45 level, at least prior to this year.
You sure want to be sitting on some blood today, because it's hot out there. You see, I haven't seen a rider come in with a coat on. Whoops, 7.
Well, last minute 7 there for Matthias. Maybe got a little bit lost there, but regroup and carry on, finish the course strong. For such a small horse, that's surprising scope. It was so easy across the back rail at the CWD Ox. So really well done. He decided to make 6 strides to the double vertical, up and over coming home. So just a 1 down there. 5 faults, a total score of 74.03 for Matthias and De Carlos. It's an exciting horse for the future, I have to say. Small package, but lots of blood, lots of easy scope.
Five penalties. So we're on our 29th horse coming in the ring now. And still just the 2 clears.
Just the 2 clears, and Lisa Carlson sitting in 3rd with the 1-time fault on her first horse, Perrette. Here we have Langley-based rider. This is Julia Stanley.
Yeah, but she's actually from Alberta.
That's right.
This has been a great horse for her.
This is Caramel, 11-year-old gelding.
That's right. It's a little bit strong, goes with his tongue out, has a little bit his own way.
Definitely his own way, a unique style, but has been such a great horse for Julia to get some experience in these bigger classes. See Caramel already looking at the tent beside number 1.
Definitely has lots of scope. I don't see his tongue out today, but it is normally.
It is his trademark. Julia a little bit wider from 2 till 3, so we'll probably see time become a factor, but it doesn't look to be major concern for Julia today. That horse just fit 3 in the 2 and did it nicely.
It's a big strided horse with a lot of scope. It's an odd complication for them on course.
That's right.
Wide again there.
We have to push on now.
Oh, 6. Had the front rail of that.
5 strides there, last minute effort. Yep, front rail does come down.
Maybe he needs his tongue out.
That's right. We'll see what Julia decides to do for this line to the combination. Having made the add option a couple of times. Left the 5 a little bit late there. Caramel had to take a bit of a dive to make that work. Up and over that last jump quite nicely. So all in all, not a bad round, just a couple of green mistakes. We end up with 12 jumping faults, 3 time faults. Total time was 82.
15 faults isn't going to be uncommon today. There's been some higher scores. It's a tough enough track out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Last week we saw in the first couple FEI competitions there was quite a lot of clear rounds, so I imagine course designer this week, Alan Wade, I'm sure that he spoke with Peter Holmes and discussed the quality of the horses and riders that are here and set accordingly. Jumps, of course, they are restricted. They're 1.45 meters high, so you have to just use them wisely. Coming in now, we have another one of our Mexican riders. This is Enrique Gonzalez.
Enrique's been a mainstay for the Mexican team for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, exactly. Enrique runs a really great business, produces really great horses, and brings here a 9-year-old mare. This is Chacna. It's a Choco Blue mare, Hanoverian breeding.
I also think Enrique came to Thunderbird Show Park for the first time maybe 3 years ago, and he's been here every time since.
That's right. He's been a loyal returnee.
It's a little bit the way here, though, you know. The showgrounds are so beautiful. They do such a great job managing the footing here. And then to top it all off, the hospitality is unmatched. Thunderbird Show Park has been the North American Riders Group number 2 in North America since the beginning.
That's right. And it's not even been close. I think it's popularly reviewed everywhere. Everyone that comes here loves it.
It's a little bit good and a little bit bad. Those of us who like to come here now, it's getting busier. The competition gets harder.
That's right. Enrique having himself a nice round so far with Chacna. And definitely you see Enrique always has a type that he prefers to ride. Uphill, lots of good blood. He manages them really well. So late discussion there on the last 2 strides on the way to that double vertical. Chacna arguing the bridle there, losing the shape over both A and B. So 8 faults total. Does sneak under the time allowed, 71.34. Won't factor into our final placings here today, but otherwise quite a nice round as a setup for the rest of the week for Enrique. Now we have another older horse, or rather an experienced horse, coming to the ring now. This is Jill Blunt, American rider. She rides her own Udam. This is a 15-year-old gray gelding by Gidam out of a capital mother, hence the gray. And Jill has had Udam for a number of years, jumped the Grand Prix here at Thunderbird Show Park for many, many years, and this is a horse with his own style. A little bit loose in front always, but lots of scope. It just means he has to jump higher to leave him up.
Absolutely. Spoken with Jill in the past. It's not easy to find a good picture of this horse, but he sure has jumped a lot of good rounds for her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jill's also spent a lot of time riding with rich fellers, so she should make herself an efficient track here.
Yeah, Jill herself, when she teaches her students, she is also diligent about the time allowed and the track and efficiency, so one would expect no time faults here for Jill.
That mislead won't have helped her plan.
A little bit close there at 4A, big push at 4B to try to get out. Does come down, so 4 faults so far. I think that was a change of her mind there between 3 and 4. That looked like a last minute out of that stride. I don't think she really wanted to have.
She's really getting them to the bottom of these jumps now, challenging them. You'd think with that lower front end you wouldn't be able to challenge the front rail so hard, but he seems to get up out of the way a lot. Now she's on the pace she probably wishes she had at the beginning. That'll be too bad to finish with 4 faults there.
We do see Jill is under the time allowed, so that part of the plan worked out just fine. 71.75, just a 1 rail down though, so she is in 6th place so far. We do have a number of riders yet to go. We do probably expect to have all of our top placings filling up in the jump off, but we'll see Jill later on this week, coming back for future competitions. Now we have Brenda Riddell coming back for her 2nd round of the day. This is Wilson, 13-year-old gray gelding. Dutch bred gelding by Ons Fond out of Monaco, a Monaco mother. Brenda rides for her Silver Star Farms from Calgary. Brenda just had that one light touch on the B element of the artisan combination on Dutch Amaretta, so see if back rail there. That looked like Brenda lost her balance. I think Wilson lost his footing as he went to push off the ground there. That's a bit of a shame to start the round.
It's unfortunate with this many horses in the class that this footing's going to take a beating without being able to move the jumps in between. Maybe just got pushing there at that plank, trying to make the 4 before she got into it. Too bad. But like we've been saying all along, it's a hot day and fatigue could play on this course for sure. It's a thinking course for both horses and riders.
Up and under there, that CWD Oxer and Wilson, no problem at all.
Oh, that was a lucky rub there.
Yeah, light rub there, for sure. Time will be a factor. We do have one time fault there, so 9 faults to total score. Those 2 rails coming down for Brenda and Wilson.
Yeah, that's not going to make it in our top 10 today. Still just the 2 clear.
And Brenda is sitting in 5th currently on Dutch Amaretta, so that might hang on for a nice prize depending on how the rest of this class goes.
And a pair of Maui gym glasses.
That's right. And we have passed the halfway mark now, so we're on our 33rd out of 59, so still with just those couple of clears. Seem to be hard to come by today.
Oh, here comes Andrew Ramsey. We saw Andrew Ramsey practicing out in the schooling ring yesterday. Was that this horse? Chockadoodle?
That might have been this horse. Yeah, we saw Cockadoodle schooling. Yeah, this is a 9-year-old mare by Tolan, or Dutch bred mare by Tolan here. As Andrew rides for the Doodle group.
Well, if this is the one we saw yesterday, we should be surprised by its jumping ability. Jumped great yesterday in the practice area.
Absolutely.
Andrew's been riding a lot with George Morris this last 6 months to a year. Taking a lot of his expertise. Andrew's already such a beautiful rider. Nicely ridden there. Nice tight rollback he's going to attempt here. And a direct line over to 4AB. He's taking care of his time allowed right at the beginning.
That's right.
He won't waste time here either. It's a bit of a blood type of horse also, so I would imagine this quicker track is suiting the horse just fine.
No, that's right. Andrew wasn't here last week, but he did join us here for the World Cup week at Thunderbird Show Park. Big reach across that Oxer. It makes one extra stride there.
Looks quite adjustable, this horse. And then he does the 5.
And time is not a factor here for Andrew. Up and over that last jump there, so we do have another clear round, and that might have been our fastest round of the day, no less. Anyway, clear round 69.37 was his time, so he'd be 3rd to come back for our jump off.
Good for him.
Excellent round.
Well, we're starting to see more clear rounds now, so as we get further into this, when people are starting to ride maybe their second horses and they're getting to see a lot of people go, they're making different decisions, and we're seeing more clear rounds.
That's right. So here we have Francisco Pascual, the brother of Patricio, who we saw earlier, and he comes in on the 13-year-old chestnut gelding Heart Winner by Heartbreaker. It's a Swiss-bred horse. Francisco riding for Gerardo Pascual of Mexico. Shift to the left off the ground at number 1. Francisco was a member of the winning Nations Cup team here at Thunderbird Show Park for
in May.
June, yeah.
June, you're right. Oh, he's making time allowed, and that may have caused that plank to come down.
I think he was thinking, oh, and he's off. He is off.
Shame.
Horse calmly walking towards the corner. Francisco still down, but seems to be okay. I think he did get stepped on there just a little bit. Yeah, horse and rider both up and seem to be okay. Oh, that's a shame. It looked like Francisco had his mind on that four-stride, continuing away from the plank, which maybe just flattened out and touched the back with the back feet at the plank for that pole, and horse definitely stuttered off the ground at that oxer and tangled up there. Horse is safely caught. The groom has him. Francisco looks to be in okay shape. Can happen.
Can happen. We're going to see Carrie Roofer come back in on her second ride. A horse she knows a little bit better than the last Clapton she's had a while now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very pretty horse, this one. It's Clapton. It's a stallion by Clinton. A Danish warm-blood stallion. Really pretty horse.
Carrie's been riding with Rich Fellers also, so her plan will be efficient at the beginning, I'm sure. Just waiting till that horse left, I guess, for the delayed bell there.
That's right. Now Carrie winding up Clapton. Great tail, great presence.
Great presence. Nice effort there. It stayed the straightest down that line I think we've seen just yet. Didn't fade to the inside away from the crowd.
A little touch there on the way down from 3. Nice organized rollback, but lost a little of the engine as he was coming down. Does stay in the cup, so still clear.
So far, this horse is making easy work of this course. You know, that
Jinxed
always
it, yeah.
happens. That always happens when you try to say something nice.
Really nicely through that combination. Ooh, a little close there, yep.
Yeah.
I think just overmade that last line there for Carrie Roofer and Clapton. 8 faults the total score, again under the time allowed, 71.65. Riders seem to be figuring out this time allowed thing.
That's right. I think it's in the beginning of that course there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then rolling back to the plank without hurrying too much.
Yep, from that point on, I think you have to ride the best track for your horse. You can't try to be too quick there. Our 36th on our list, scheduled to come in the ring next. Just waiting at the in-gate. A quick recap of the scores. So we do have 3 clear rounds. Laura Jane Tidball, Antonio Maurer, and Andrew Ramsey joining them now. So 3 clears to come back in the jump-off so far. Lisa Carlson holding down 4th with her 1 time fault with Perrette.
Oh, this doesn't look like our next one on the list.
Well, we are moving up in the order now. We have Patricio Pascual coming back in with Carreas. So we're skipping over Carrie Ann, Boyce Lockhart, and Mark Grock also scratched the second horse, Caratol. We didn't see him come earlier, so with Patricio up next, riding his own Carreas, 12-year-old bay gelding by Converter, Oldenburg breeding. I've seen this horse with Patricio before, also here on the Nations Cup team in June, the winning Nations Cup team for Team Mexico. Lots of blood, this horse.
Great jumping technique.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really firing out behind.
Big push for that oxer.
Big push. Oh,
Getting organized, artisan combination. Stretch across easily for this pair. Good careful jump into the corner. We see Patrizio still thinking about time allowed as he rounds the corner. Quite close there, yeah, a little bit too close. Back rail came into play. Horse tried everything he could to leave up the front rail. And again, that front rail, the last oxer. That is a lot of times that jump has come down. 8 faults total. Definitely the fastest round we've seen so far at 68.46. First one under 69 seconds, so it's possible Patrizio could have taken a little more time on his rollback to that first jump he had down. Just settle things down. Sometimes when you have a horse with this much blood, you get deep into the course. You need to find places to remind them to stay calm.
breathe.
To stay patient. That's right.
That last jump is designed to come down, especially at the end of a long course on a hot day, with those natural rails that would fade into the background for these horses, and then the addition of that Liverpool encouraging them to peak down at the last minute.
Up next, we have American rider returning for his second round of the day. This is Carl Cook. He rides 10-year-old Dutch-bred gelding Basimoto by Quasimodo Z. Starting to see a lot more Quasimodo Z offspring at the top end of the sport now. Beautifully ridden 9 strides to start the course. Basimoto is a much smaller type than the first horse we saw Carl with, Tembla. Carl's won some nice Grand Prix classes with Basimoto, though, including last year as just a 9-year-old, won a really great class in California.
Eric and Carl have been developing a nice string of horses between the two of them, and it seems that they're going more the way of the small horse these days. They're really kind of honing in on what they're liking to ride, and
we see that touch behind. Oh, we
And
get
again.
two hind rails in a row there. The plank and then the front rail of the ox are right away afterwards. We'll look for Carl to put some shape back in the jump here to finish the round. Taking his time on the rollback.
nice added up there. Push out of the turn.
Losing form just a little bit, but definitely Basimoto not about to have another one there. The hind feet. We see that front rail again. So 12 faults a total. 70.27. That's the time there for Carl and Basimoto. Won't factor in our final placings there. We'll be back for another day.
Three clears at this stage of the Amercian welcome. They are from Canada, Mexico, and USA are three at the station.
Well, we'll see Carl come back one more time with Caillou later in our order towards the end of the competition here. As we see, we await our 40th on the list to come in the ring.
We have had a couple of lulls at the gates, but then it seems to always be followed by a scratch. So, or it's one that wants to canter into the ring.
Exactly. Good, so Danish rider. This is Nicolas Hein-Roos. As he joins us here in the ring, riding Terra Beaulieu. This is a 9-year-old mare. French-bred mare by Apache d'Adrier.
He's Danish, but he bases out of Mexico. He coaches a bunch down there, and he's been basing there and spending some time up here in the summer.
Yep, that's right. He has a great horse for the top end Grand Prix competitions called Big Red, as he rides for Gerardo Pasquale, that horse. We'll see Nicola here for his first and only ride of the day.
Must be saving Big Red for the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Big Red's had some great success and second place finish in $1 Million Grand Prix earlier. So this is that's it for sure his top horse. And Terra Beaulieu, a 9-year-old only, so probably getting some good valuable experience. entering the FEI competition level.
Gerardo does make an appearance himself on Big Red every so often. He rode him at Spruce Meadow Summer Series.
That's right. Right through that plank, I think everyone got focused on riding the four stride a little more. And got past the plank. Really well ridden by Nicola there. Lifting that horse's balance. Wants to be a little bit low, maybe normally. Lifted the horse up nicely for the 6 strides. We'll see him probably do the same thing again. Picking the horse up for 5. Yeah, really well ridden to the double combination. That back rail does come down again at the CWD Oxer number 10. And a big kick, light rub there, but it stays in the cups. So 8 faults to total score there for Nicola Heinrose from Denmark and Tara Bolio. Next up, we've got Jennifer Gates coming back for her second round of the day with yet another gray horse. Pretty gray horse.
Pumped Up Kicks.
This Pumped Up Kicks, that's right.
This was a horse of Lily Keenan's. They've had this horse for coming up 2 years, I think, this winter. 13 years old, gelding. It says it's by Levisto also. Did she not already have it at Levisto?
Her other gray horse, Lifticus, is also by Levisto, so we may see a pattern here. Jennifer Gates and her white Levistos.
This horse has great blood, great gallop, can do any number of strides, and Lily Keenan was quoted as saying she didn't think there was anything it couldn't jump. It's just about keeping that all contained.
Yeah, absolutely. That was, again, really huge stride, a deceivingly large stride as she made that 9 look so easy. Up and under number 3, no problem so far.
She was quite tight in that roll back to that plank.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that serves her well for her time allowed in the future here. When you have a horse with so much blood like this one and such a big stride, really have to fight to keep him on task. Keep him contained and on task. Nice early turn after that vertical, now giving some room to come back for this big oxer. And that front pole rolls this time.
Just touched it, I think. Sure tried hard to leave those verticals up.
Absolutely. One more to go for Jennifer Gates. Yeah, no problems there at the last one for her. So 4 faults total score. 71.15 is the total time. Improves by 4 over her last gray horse. But unfortunately 4 faults probably won't keep her in the top placings at the end of the day here in the Maui gym.
Our list again says Tina Delandry, but it is Tina Yates.
That's right.
As we said before.
Again, a High Point Farm entry. This is Bielon. It's a 10-year-old bay mare by Indoctro. Wow, that was high.
They sure do like to jump up for her. She sure sits still.
Yeah, great quality here.
Trying hard.
Big twist there at B.
Making room. She sure was tight around. There's a dry ditch there at the end that they have to go around. She sure was tight there and didn't leave herself very many options.
And rubbing hind legs on that A element of the Artisan Farms combination there. 4 faults so far for Tina.
You have to wonder sometimes if a little bit that rough decision there at the vertical doesn't pay off later. Not necessarily right away at the moment, but a little bit frantic. Pushed a little bit through that A.
Good finish there for Tina Yates and Bielon. Just to 4 faults there, 70.66 the total time. We have 17 left to go here.
4 penalties really isn't proving to be a bad score here.
She finds herself in 5th place at the moment. It's the fastest of our 4 falters, so really with 17 left and we've only seen the 3 clears, that's not a bad place to find yourself.
Nope.
So we welcome in now Canadian rider. This is Jen Sarek. She rides for the Wicked horse group. This is Wicked. It's an 8-year-old bay gelding by Berlin.
This is our second Berlin today, I think.
That's right. This is Celle Francais by Berlin out of a Diamant de Semele mother. This is a relatively new horse for Jen as well. Got this horse in Florida this winter. He's put in some time getting to know the horse, developing, coming along and entering these FEI competitions here. See, again, we see Wicked with the shadow roll as well. Oh, spooky.
Spooky at number 1. As also the sun is changing, that shadow is getting deeper and deeper into that line.
Yeah, that shadow's covering more than half of that first jump now. When we started, it definitely was not nearly that far. See Wicked now. Just acting
Posting
up,
a bit of a fit.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble here getting restarted. Might just back himself all the way out of here.
He might.
Okay.
Oh, he's posing quite a fit about this.
This is not a good feeling.
Oh, forward again. It's been actually a really great horse. I haven't seen it do that before.
No.
So if she can get him on the roll, and then she might have a good round.
Yeah, and this horse jumped double clear last week in one of the FEI competitions. Had just one unfortunate rail down in the Grand Prix on Sunday.
She's going to salute and say goodbye.
Jen's going to call it a day there after that exciting start. I'm going to go and see that spot once again, but
too bad for her.
yeah, it's a shame because once the horse started to go, we really didn't have any issues at all being on that side. Just objected the first time, so I'm sure we'll see Jen and Wicked come back another day. Final 16 now. This is a local rider. This is Joelle Froze, and she's riding Onyx, 11-year-old black gelding by Laramie. Laramie, of course, an American stallion that Kyle King had lots of success with in the 90s.
Kyle actually also rode this horse for a few years, developing it for Joelle.
Yeah, that's right. And Joelle in the irons now. She has a couple of nice horses to jump some bigger classes these days.
We were talking about Lauren Crooks, but I think Joelle might even be shorter than Lauren. She definitely has a short leg, but you rarely see it move. She's so stuck in the tack.
Yeah, and Onyx is no small horse either. He's a big boy to manage for sure. A little rut there. Some trip around the corner between 2 and 3.
She went out quite wide there.
Yeah. Lots of scope here for Onyx.
Jumps a little bit in his own style too, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was really well ridden. Came back nice for her.
Organizing, nice combination. You see that hind end faulting there on the way out. The quiet one stride of verticals does beg the horses to lose shape a little there, and we saw that. Again, the front pole of the last ox are coming down yet again. So 12 faults for jumping, 1 fault for time, 75.51. 3.5 seconds over that time allowed there for Joelle and Onyx. For the most part, quite a nice round. Yeah, we see coming in next, we have yet another local rider. This is Alexandra Perry. She rides Seyred de Lobry Zed, Langer side of breeding by Coriano Zed, out of a thoroughbred mother, the famous Laudanum. This is a great opportunity for Alexandra to get into these big classes here. This might be her first full season competing at this level. And a nice 12-year-old mare as her partner.
Do we know who she rides with?
Beliskis.
Beliskis.
Thunderbird.
Thunderbird
Show stables.
Show stables. That's right. Not at Thunderbird Show Park. Just down the road, actually. Brent and Laura have time and time again developed young riders up to this level, though. They really do a good job horsing them, bringing them through the levels.
That's right. We see Alexandra taking a wide track to fence 3. Not concerned with the time allowed, more concerned with riding a nice course.
Easy
big,
scope.
big jump at 4A there, and Alexandra nicely pushed on to make the 2 strides work. Grand Prix last weekend was did not work out in their favor, but no worse for wear here. We just carry 4 faults through the first 7 jumps as we turn the corner to the Artisan Farms combination 8A and B. And back rail coming down, horse stalled off the ground, shifted a little bit to the right there. So important they push off straight, use all their power.
Yeah, and we're going to start to see some fatigue here too. Unfortunately, the more time you take around the corners also, the more you use up their energy.
That was one of the best efforts I think we've seen over that CWD Oxer. Unfortunately, the A element of the double verticals does come down, and so does the last. So we do have 19 in total. That's 4 rails over the course and 3 time faults. 81.71 is the total time, but I have to say that was a very, very soft 4 rails coming down. No worse for wear for anybody. I think everyone will grow from the experience. That was a pretty good job. See next, Andrew Ramsey returns. He's one of our only 3 clears so far. As he comes back in the ring. This is Stranger. Rides for the Stranger group. Hanoverian breeding. This is a Staccato.
Andrew wasn't here last week either, so this will be both of his horses' first time in the ring.
Definitely, and he seems to have brought some blood horses. This one even just trotting around looks like a nice light bloody type.
Yep, and definitely taking a time to show him the crowd. That first line doesn't become an issue.
Still just the 3 clears, 1 with a 1 time fault. And we've got a good group, 5 with 4 faults. So at the moment, 4 faults gets you into the prizes. Not sure if that'll last, but 4 faults is a respectable score in today's course.
Looks like 13 more.
And Andrew spent some time showing in Europe, riding, working together with Alan Waldman. You know, with his mentor George Morris, of course. Spending more time in North America these days.
I haven't seen George here this week, though.
So Andrew makes 5 after the plank. Well executed 6 strides there. Yeah, tight roll back. We do get the rub on that back rail, but it does stay up. Try to recover shape. Yeah, that's cat-like reflexes there. And he does it. Look at that. Andrew Ramsey. He was 3rd and 4th to come back now for a jump off. First rider to have 2 coming back. That's how long it's been between clear rounds.
That's right.
It was the last one as well.
Here's Antonio Maurer that this is the bigger, scopier one you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the negative version of Andrew's horse. I mean, first of all, it's white instead of dark, and then it's big, super rangy, slow moving, all the scope. He could jump over the building next to the show ring, I'm sure. This is Galileo de Lobrie, 10-year-old grey gelding by Cardento, Belgian warm blood. Seen this horse as well at the June Thunderbird Show Park shows as well with Antonio. Left most of his horses up in Canada for the summer.
Still makes 9, even on such a big horse.
Absolutely. It took him almost 10 seconds to get from 1 to 2. The stride is so slow, but that was a very tight rollback to 3.
He really just steps over these.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, makes the 8 strides to the corner there of the Panda House jump. Really setting up this combination. Perhaps too much. So we have that back pull coming down for such a scopy horse. Perhaps we should have done one less coming in. Let him keep cantering. And back rail again.
You know, sometimes this horse, he'll... Oh, dear.
Jeez, and down we go. Okay.
He'll reach his legs out sometimes instead of pushing harder.
Yep, absolutely. We saw one horse do that earlier as well, actually. Just reach instead of push up. You can pull off one jump at a time like that, but when you're coming into the next, got a line going, you really need to keep the form, keep the technique coming. There's a quick bell back. Antonio's eager to get going again. Yep, well done. No issues there. And right under that last oxer, and Galileo up to the task there. So we finish on 19 faults there. 80-17 is the total time. Definitely not the result Antonio was looking for with Galileo.
This next horse will not be too dissimilar, that's for sure. Christian Grey is another very rangy, large gray horse.
Yeah, absolutely. Bicento, Zanger-sided breeding, owned by the Haley Farms. This is Tiffany Sullivan. She's had Christian Grey for a number of years now. Bought this horse from Ali Nilfarushan in California. With good success, and Tiffany actually, in spite of her small size, she rides this big horse really well. Tiffany, we've seen over the years lots of times with Tristan, big tall chestnut horse, riding to some great World Cup wins in the California circuit, and Thermal, and now she is Christian Grey. Big push makes 8. Looked like a last minute decision to make the 8.
She did a good job to hold him straight there. He looked like he wanted to come off the wall a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. 8 strides to the combination.
So scopy.
Yeah.
Oh, to push there in the 4 even on him.
Yeah, some of the horses are definitely backing away. Not only is that riding flat, but they're looking at what's under that oxer as well.
I've been referring to them as the houses, but it's a rendition of the local town here, Fort Langley. And it does surprisingly get a lot of them to look down.
1 to go here for Tiffany and Christian Grey. Time faults, definitely. That's a shame. Looked like a bit of a mistake there for that last stride adding at the end. Doing that last rail coming down. So 4 faults for that and 2 time penalties. So 76-72 was her time. Slots her into 14th place so far. So just out of our top prizes here. Otherwise, quite a nice round. The horse seemed to really play with the course.
It's hard to get a horse like that under the time allowed. That big kind of slow moving step.
Here we have Eric Neve riding for France as he rides the 9-year-old gelding Calypso. Spike Toki out of a Calypso mother Hanoverian breeding.
Eric himself is a world champion, among many other accolades.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a deep resume, that's for sure. And he's been basing out of California, really helping Carl Cook lately. I think he's moved his whole family over to America. And he hasn't hung up his hat just yet. He was 7th in our Grand Prix on Sunday.
Makes 8 strides in that first line. Getting the time allowed under control right away. Tight roll back also to 3. And rolls the plank.
I bet he thought he took care of that, actually. That's a bit of shame, a rail to come down. He's been efficient the whole way around, too. Not much left for him to do as far as time allowed, especially in this last line.
Yeah, up and over, no issue there at the last as well. So 4 faults, 69.13 is the time there. So that puts Eric and Katipso into 6th place. Becomes our fastest 4 faulter.
Still just 4 clear rounds to jump off.
That's right, 4 clears. We've got 9 left to see. So be surprised if Eric doesn't at least get something in the top 12 at the end of the day. We have Alejandro Mills returning for his second ride of the day for Mexico, riding for Armando Acevedo. This is Fine Star. It's an 11-year-old gelding by Nonstop, Belgian warm blood gelding. Alejandro with his first horse, Bartender, had 9 faults, the total score. We'll see if he can get rid of that time fault and also improve on the rails.
8 strides.
Fine Star here is by Nonstop. Nonstop is the good producer, actually. It's a sire of a horse that we've seen with Egyptian rider Nail Nassar before, sire of Raging Bull, Vangelis.
That's right. We still have to see Nail one more time on Lordan, who was our winner twice last week.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got quite a strong finish to the class, actually. Back rail of the Artisan Farms B element coming down again. Big challenge there, yeah. Just too close to the CWD Oxer.
Tries quite hard for him there after that rail down.
Well, did improve on the time, but unfortunately we have 12 faults as a total score here. 71.43 was Alejandro Mills' time with Fine Star. Yep, looks like you need to have 5 faults or better, 4 faults really, to be in the top 12 today so far, with the 8 remaining. So we have another entry here for Carl Cook. Let's see, comes back now with Caillou. It's the 9-year-old gray gelding by Casal out of Corrado, Holsteiner breeding. And Carl was clear in the Grand Prix last weekend with Caillou. Again, a younger horse moving up into this level. But clearly already some good clear rounds under his belt. Meter 45 level. 8 to go here in the Maui gym. Welcome at Thunderbird Show Park.
Oh, that one got a little spooky even to number 1.
8 strides also from 1 to 2. Saw Eric do that a couple of horses ago. Easy to do 8 strides there to the Longines combination. first of our final questions here. Artisan Farms, back rail B, no problems. Look to be efficient enough back to the CWD Oxer to take care of the back rail. Has a big reach.
Whoop. Looks like you just got confused there. Maybe thought 4 would be an answer.
That's a shame. And that final rail coming down as well. The front rail of Oxer at 12. So 9 faults is the total. He is just over the time allowed. It's a shame. Such a big effort over that CWD Oxer, and then I bet Carl wishes he had that one to re-ride actually. So 9 faults. Carl will not factor into the ribbons here with Caillou.
I'm going to see Ben Aslan next on Cool Feeling. This is one of very few 8-year-olds in this class.
Yeah, 8-year-olds. 8 is definitely young to be moving into the FEI divisions, but we've got a couple today. Normally see 9 and 10-year-olds really starting to reach their peak here. A Cool Feeling. It's a nice big gelding. This is by Coronado. Out of a Lancer mother. This is Rhinelander. Cool Feeling with Ben Aslan for Attaché Stables of Canada. Easy to make 8 strides there, 1 to 2.
Looks like a cool feeling, one might say. I think Ben really enjoys developing young horses. He's had this horse now since it was a few years younger than this, and they, in their barn, develop a lot of young horses, as his father always did also. It's been a real mainstay for their family to be buying young and bringing them along themselves.
And Ben has his eye on the clock a little bit as he rounds the corner to the CWD Oxer. Front rail coming down the hind legs.
And the A of that.
Yeah, the horse didn't really come back probably as much as you wish, but that's a bit of a green mistake that can be fixed over time. Again, that front rail of the Oxer at 12. 13 faults total. He was just over the time allowed there. Just half a second over with Cool Feeling and Ben Aslan. Not a bad debut here at the FEI level for Ben and Cool Feeling. Definitely a horse for the future. Lots of great pieces there. We see Jennifer Gates coming into the ring for her 3rd ride of the day. She rides Caddy R. It's a 12-year-old stallion by Comeback 2. Danish warm blood stallion. This is a former ride of Jos Verlooy. Jos, of course, is the son of Belgian dealer Axel Verlooy. Here's Caddy R and Jennifer Gates. Her final ride of the day.
Oh, a little spooky there, away from the side.
Yeah, good use of the bend though to fit in those 9 strides without having to pull so much. Yeah, got a little bit parked up under 4A there, and I think Jennifer lost her balance a little bit. Didn't land guiding him towards 4B. Caddy R opting to take the easy route there, which of course goes right past 4B. You'll see Jennifer take a square straight approach here, get back on course. Reminder, when a horse stops in a combination, they have to attempt a full combination, not just the element. They refuse that. So for A and B upcoming. And we get the wave from Jennifer there. Not feeling like it's her day here with Caddy, so she will retire on course. Down to our final 6 now on the list. Before we have what seems to be quite a small jump off, really.
Relatively, absolutely. Small jump off. He's done his job here with 59 entries, and sometimes it's a little difficult not to make it too hard and get too few for your jump off. Have to think he'd want the top 10 to jump off, and then those are your ribbons.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming through the gate here is Izzy Miyake. This is a 12-year-old gray gelding. Gustavo Ramos in the irons for Mexico. Big jumping gelding by Casa Grande out of the Cardento mother.
I've always really liked this horse.
Definitely, we saw this horse first last year up for the summer tour here in Canada. Really great jumper. Actually had a really good tour in the Grand Prix on Sunday here at Thunderbird Show Park. A small, maybe freshness rideability problem, but we'll see if Gustavo and Izzy Miyake are reorganized here for today. The Maui Gym welcome. Yep, no issues at the Longines double there for Gustavo and Izzy Miyake. Big scope in this horse. We've seen this horse jump some really big tracks. Today's course, of course, set at 1.45 m. We'll look for the Sunday World Cup qualifier to be a couple of holes bigger here all around. Maybe a little bigger, a little wider, a little more technical. Definitely tougher. We've seen Izzy Miyake do that with ease before. Fortunately, that front pole of the B element coming down, so carrying 4 faults as we turn around to the CWD Oxer at fence 10. And again, another front rail here.
You have to wonder if the heat's getting to this horse a little bit. Long course. Starting to look like he's having
Looks
a
short
push.
on blood at the end, definitely. Yep. Yeah, 4 late rails there for Izzy Miyake. 16 faults will not factor in here today. Is expected to cool off on the weekend, so this might be helpful for the Grand Prix on Sunday, the World Cup qualifier. But one more FEI competition on Friday afternoon, the speed class, to get prepared for Sunday's big World Cup.
This next pair here, Shelley Fellers, Rich Feller's wife, and Revenge. So happy to see them back up at this level. Shelley herself has had a couple of awkward injuries. I think it was a broken foot and maybe a broken collarbone over the winter. And she's had to watch her son ride him all of the Spruce Meadows, so she'll be happy to get back at it.
Yeah, that's right. We've seen Revenge and Shelley with such success over the years, really. I mean, winning some great classes here at Thunderbird Show Park and elsewhere. Powerful start to get underway here. She's planning the 8 up the first line, I think.
Can never count a feller's out for speed, that's for sure.
That's right. And Revenge is 15 years old, so lots of experience, even though Shelley missed a little bit of time with her broken leg recently, or broken foot. Revenge kept going. You can guarantee that he was organized and ready for her return.
I think it was harder for her to watch her horse than it was to watch her son go this summer. She sure loves this horse. She's had him a long time.
Yeah, great story with this horse. Bought the horse in Sweden. One of the many times that Flexible traveled for the World Cup finals there in Gothenburg. Big push across the Artisan Farms and then reorganizing that nice 6 strides. Starting the corner now for home. 4 jumps to go for Shelley and Revenge.
Whoa, that's a big distance.
Plenty far away, but no issue there.
She almost leaves him alone there to figure out his double verticals.
Yeah, absolutely. And rub, that did come down, yep. It fell really late.
And a time fault.
That seems halfway unfair. 5 faults the total score, yep. Shelley and Revenge just over time, 73-27. It's their time. It's a bit of a surprising time fault, definitely, for the Fellers clan, but also just watching her ride that course, not really sure where she could have made up the time. She was efficient 1, 2, 3, 4. And somewhere in there was a second and a half she needed back.
Maybe that turned back to the CWG.
That's right. So final four now. It's Tina Yates with her final round of the day. This is Juanita. Juanita is a Dutch bred mare by Sonique. That's some unique breeding. Really active canter, this mare Juanita. Saw Juanita in the jump off last week in one of the FEI competitions. A good start to their campaign here at Thunderbird.
Tina Sure Reds is one a little bit different than her last two. Fires it up a little bit more.
Yep, much different type. I'd say the other two we saw so far, really easy, slow scope, and this one, feisty little one. Big push for the forced ride there after the plank.
We've definitely seen faults all over this course, but there is a couple of bogey fences.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we see that Artisan Farms B element coming down. I think Tina landed from A knowing she needed to push, and unfortunately Juanita just jumped at rather than up. And one to go here, carrying the 8 faults. And again, the front rail of that Liverpool oxer. Seems to me like if you've had one down already, you're going to have the front rail of the Liverpool as well.
Absolutely.
12 faults to total there. 68.48. It's a great time, but unfortunately those 3 rails do come down. So now we have 3 to go, including last week's
Big winner.
big winner. It's Nael Nassar with Lordan this time. This is his first mount, Baraka's older brother. Same breeding. This is Lordanos out of Alandor. Mother. Hanoverian breeding here for Lordan. Niall, of course, he won the $100,000 Grand Prix on Sunday. He did win also the Welcome last week as well, so great start to the campaign also for Niall. It's Lordan.
He always does this
Waiting on
before
the
the
way.
first jump. And then he gets a little more serious as he gets into it and then plays a little again after.
We're going to see some ad options, I think, in the lines. Huge scope, which is so surprising in a small package, but it was way up over that oxer at number 2.
You know, historically, NAL picks and chooses his places to add, but in the recent year, he's definitely been doing the numbers more and more.
Yeah, that's right. I think sometimes with the technical courses, you maybe don't really get handed any good options. You really kind of have to make it work. Here we see the 5 after the plank.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Ooh,
lots
late
of pulling.
check there, yeah. Whoa, when we go swimming a bit.
Oh,
A late check at the Artisan. I'll
Now
just
I
check if Lordan is okay. Maybe lost a stirrup there.
feels good. Maybe jump one more jump.
I expect to see Niall to jump one more and maybe pull up and save the rest of the jumps for later, but we'll see what he chooses to do here.
He's not making it clear to us up in the booth just yet.
No.
Oh, here he goes.
No, here he comes. Yep. And
There we
now
go.
it pulls up. Yep. So, retirement for Niall and Lordan.
Not winning
Yeah,
today.
a little miscommunication there on the way into that black combination. It's hard to look at for sure. For the horses and the riders, I think. Just changed his mind at the last second. So, not their day, but I'm sure we'll see them come back in fine form for the Grand Prix on Sunday. Final 2 now as we see American rider Jeff Kampf coming in for the second round. He's moving up this week with Chevejo NB. It's a 9-year-old chestnut gelding by Vittorio, Dutch bred gelding. Vittorio, one of the many stallions at Stall Hendricks in Holland. Good thoroughbred type stallion, and we see that also in this horse, Chevejo. Leaner type. Cheveo jumped really nicely last week in some meter 40 classes. I watched Classic on the weekend. Really nice round. Might have actually been the winner on Sunday.
Pretty type of horse, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, big push there. Yeah. You try to do the 9 strides to 4A. You still want to have enough power in the canter to be able to make that work. Don't want to get halted at 4A.
It's careful, this horse.
Yeah,
it's definitely trying to give the front rail some room.
Yeah. Expect a big kick now. Yeah, I can hear him even talking to him there.
Going to the whip.
Yeah, he really did just set back. Lands from the first jump into a line, sets himself back. A little bit more work to do. See him cover the ground first. Yep, nice 5. Yeah, well ridden. Yeah, big kick coming home. And the front rail comes down as well. So
Lovely horse for the future, though.
yeah, absolutely. Yep, 8 faults for jumping, 1 for time. So 9 the total there for Jeff Camp. And yeah, an exciting young horse, Cheveo NB. Sure, we'll see them in the future lots of times. Yeah, it seems to be a big trend here. We see Carrie Roofer on her final mount. She's coming in and checking out the VIP, the shadows, just letting her horse get comfortable being on that side of the ring to get the class started. She has her third mount of the day. It's a 10-year-old bay stallion. This is Georgie Dovray, riding for the Morning Star Sport Horses. This is by Vancouver Dovray, out of a Nabab Derev mother. And Carrie likes to have stallions, it seems. That her last horse we saw, Clapton, a beautiful gray stallion. Here we have again, now a beautiful bay stallion.
Carrie was talking to me the other day about how different all the rides are on her horses, and how when she walks she makes a different plan for each one.
Yeah.
This one's definitely spooky to number 1. And a bit of sauce.
Yeah, I think that changed her plan a little bit when he landed and bucked. Not sure she really wanted to be there in 9 strides. And Georgie making light work of that combination. Big, powerful jump in this horse.
Really had to step up to that 4 there.
This might be the newest of her mounts for this Grand Prix level here, so.
Absolutely, I think it's just like a month or 2 out of quarantine.
Yeah, tidy little turn back, good scope there. Yeah, well done, 1 to go. Perhaps time faults as well, but yeah, super effort. So just the 1 down with 1 time faults, 5 faults total score there for Carrie Roofer and Georgie Dovray. It's a great opportunity for her to get to know her brand new stallion here. So that does wrap up the first round of competition with our 59 starters. And a few scratches. We ended up with 4 clear rounds coming back for the jump off. Laura Jane Tidball, Antonio Maurer, Andrew Ramsey twice. And then we see Lisa Carlson holding down that 5th place, which is a great start. She was our first one to come into the ring on Perrette, and her single time fault positions her in 5th place, which is a great result. Only having to do 1 round in this heat is really not a bad thing.
That's true.
Take a small break here as we set the course for the jump off with our 4 to return.
Welcoming out number 3, in fact, of our mentors. I mentioned already the equine mentors for the Langley Equestrian Academy. They're going to be on hand for any questions that you have. But welcoming out Samantha Lamb, who's ridden right the way up to Olympic Games, has ridden both show jumping and in the hunter ranks as well, competing at the World Cup finals before now too, and representing her nation at the Games in Hong Kong in 2008, alongside Elisa Schultz, who's going to be competition level mentor as well in the hunters, jumpers, the eventing and dressage as well. Started off in the Pony Club, achieving her A level as well, and has been right the way through to the FEI ranks. And besides riding, examining and judging, is a competition coach and several riders competing in BC and the USA, and many students competing at the BC Summer Games as well. And alongside Jessie Pack, whose background as vet technician, both he working here at the T-Bird Show Stables and Show Park, and huge experience that she brings as well to many facets of the equestrian industry for almost 20 years now, and right the way through from vet technician right the way through to groom, barn manager, and all that experience behind the scenes that drives equestrian sport all the way through. And they'll be joined as part of that program by Angel Robson as well. So our 3 mentors out there, a huge thanks to them, and good luck for the future with all the equine talents and riders that they will be taking charge of to launch into the future. But we're set to go with the jump off of this Maui Gym Welcome as we get started. It'll be a shortened course starting over fence 14, new one on the course, and that's the Maplebrook Farm fence that's added this time. If you look over towards the Longines branding there, and the T-Bird Just World banner there as the first. Then it's to 7, 8A and B, 4A, 1, 2, 3, and finishing over fence 12, so the last fence as it was in the first round as the last. 55 seconds time allowed, and getting underway with 4 to go in the jump off for the Maui Gym Welcome.
Yep. So we're back now for the jump off here. It's a long enough jump off actually. We jump a new fence back towards the end gate, vertical, roll back to that oxer number 7 that was out of the 4-stride line, continue 8AB, right hand turn. We're going to jump number 4, which is the Longines oxer. Make a left hand turn, go right back down number 1, 2, 3, just like in the first round, but then make a straight shot at 12.
That bogey oxer from the first round. We see Andrew Ramsey, our first to return. He did move up in the jump off order. He rides Cockadoodle here, grabbing the bit early, plunging at number 1, but so far so good. Tight little turn back on number 7. Keep a little eye on the time here. We'll get a big push, almost takes the standard there. Yep, back rail comes down as well. It's a feisty little horse.
It is.
A little right shift over that one as well at 4A. We land from that Longines oxer at number 4 right in around 25 seconds. We'll watch that for the remaining competitors.
You know, he's smart to tight turn even with the 1 down here. Keep the pressure on the riders to come.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no guarantee anyone else is going to jump clear. He does have one more shot himself at it. Yeah, up and over, no problem. So 47.88 is the total time. Andrew Ramsey and Cockadoodle. Just the 4 faults there. At the B element, which of course a combination of 8AB there. That was the bogey combination in the first round. And so was the last jump. But of course none of these clear rounds really had any issues with that.
That's a strong horse. He had to use the wall there a little bit to help him slow up at the end of the course.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably the right kind of fight that you want in a horse, so a good competitive partner. Just need to be able to manage it. Here we go. We have their second coming back. This is local rider. This is Laura Jane Tidball. She rides Prim de l'Hérault, a French gelding here. So Laura Jane and Prim not really known for going too terribly fast, but they sure can leave them up. So expect to see Laura Jane go as fast as she's comfortable, which won't be lightning quick, but it will be enough to put some pressure on that the last 2 riders can't just dawdle around clear. Getting a little hung up in the lead change. Big chase, yeah. See, sometimes you watch the rideability and you see these small things and they can really catch up to you in some really key moments. Prim getting confused on the cross canter, and then when Laura Jane needed to push, he didn't really know how to do that from the cross canter. Yeah, big effort out over B. That was really well ridden.
She's quite obviously taking it down a gear here. Now she's just going to ride a conservative rest of her jump off.
Yeah, that's right. There's lots more jumping this week. Prim's an older horse. It doesn't really need a lot of jumping practice to stay in form, but she will finish. Move her way up the table here if she can. Guaranteed at least 4th place, of course.
And a set of sunglasses.
And a little roll there at the fence 3. Can't see the quality canter catching up with her, I think. Yeah, same there. No, that's a shame. So 17 the total. We see the time faults. They do accrue at a faster rate in the jump off. It's 1 per second instead of 1 per 4. 17 faults the total for Laura Jane and Prim. Still, they should take away. We had a really great clear first round in a tough course.
That horse isn't so fit either. You know, he's had a light summer. I think they only did maybe 1 week at Spruce Meadows this summer. So she'll be hoping he gets fitter as we go here.
Yeah, that's right. 3rd to come back now. 3rd out of 4 of Antonio Maurer from Mexico as he rides Cartier. Again, not really a speed demon look to this horse, but Antonio certainly can go quickly. We've seen him go quickly. We've seen him ride fast before. And so far, to take the lead, all he really has to do is jump clear, which he really must do. Andrew is the last one to return on his 2nd horse, so if Antonio has 1 down and is slower than Andrew, then Andrew wins regardless. Yeah, so there's the 4 faults. Let's put the pedal to the metal here to overtake Andrew. At least make him jump once more.
I'm not sure that he could catch Andrew now.
Yeah. Lands at 26 seconds from the Longines Oxer, so 2nd off, but that was quite tight back there to number 1.
It looks like it took him a moment, but now he's... Oh, he may not know about the last line here.
Yeah, Antonio.
Oh, that's a shame.
Lost here.
That's the 2nd time 2 weeks we've seen someone forget the last line or last jump in the jump off.
That is a real shame. Yeah. He thought he had it done.
That's a long jump off. Who can blame him?
Shoot. Yeah. 6 faults to total as he has 2 time faults in the addition to that 1 rail at 8B. It does put Antonio into 2nd place. So Andrew Ramsey is the winner. It's just a matter of time now to see if Andrew wants to win on Stranger or Cockadoodle.
That'll be a fast turnaround. We'll have a little delay in the action, definitely, for him to come back.
Right. Oh, that's a shame. It's really wild to see that ever happen, but we did just see that happen with Rich Fellers and Flexible in the Grand Prix on the weekend. As he got lost in the jump off and forgot that last jump. What are the odds, really?
Well, our viewers may not be able to see it, but it looks like Andrew's still out in the schooling area. Maybe has 1 more jump to jump.
Yeah, as he gets his final ride ready to come back. Stranger.
Just 4 out of our almost 60 entries today to jump off.
A quick recap of the score. So Andrew currently in the lead. Antonio holding down 2nd with Cartier LJ in 3rd. Lisa Carlson taking home 5th with her time fault. Eric Nave was the fastest 4-faulter. And we see a couple of Canadians taking 9th and 10th as Gareth Graves and Brenda Riddell. Some of our quicker 4-faulters, so they still get a piece of the action here in the Maui Gym welcome.
I think we mentioned before that Maui Gym not only sponsors the, is it $36,500 today?
$34,600, yep.
$34,600 prize, but also the top 10 here are going to get a pair of custom fits Maui Gym sunglasses. We have Maui Gym people on site today.
Great day for that. It's a beautiful sunny day all day, not a cloud in the sky, really all day. Sunglasses weather.
Oh, I see him out there. He's taking it what looks like his final fence, hopefully. And we'll see him in a moment.
Always interesting to watch these riders take their warm-up fences and see how they want to prepare their horses to come in for what they're about to do. Normally in the jump off, see them take a little bit of a slice, maybe a tight rollback, a little angle, something to get their horses thinking about what they're going to see out there.
That's right, looking through the turns early. Not just the riders, but the horses too.
That's right. Keeping in mind, of course, all that Andrew really has to do is jump clear. He can be as slow as he wishes under the time, jumping clear, and he wins with Stranger. And he can have one down. He has a little bit of leeway. He can have one down and be relatively quick. At least if he doesn't have any time faults, then he's guaranteed first and second.
That's a risky move, though, if you go too slow at the beginning and you have one down.
Absolutely, but I think Andrew, with this type of horse, I think quick is the name of the game. I'm not sure he can go slow.
Oh, he's winding up again.
Mm, 59 starters. We had 3 horses retire on course with 1 elimination as Francisco Pascual fall off. Got jumped off, really. Just the 4 clears. Be interesting to see what Alan Wade has up his sleeve for the rest of the week then. Definitely it is a strong field of competitors. They are serious now. They jumped a lot of clear rounds last week. Mostly the same group here. Qualifier.
We saw, I think, 3 or 4 with 3 in this, and a few more with 2, so that'll already take it down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Friday evening is a speed competition, an FEI speed class, and tomorrow afternoon there is an FEI competition in the CSI 3-star division, just to 140. It is, of course, important. All the horses and riders have to complete one FEI competition this week in order to qualify for the Grand Prix or the World Cup qualifier on Sunday. So, giving the riders a nice option to jump once a smaller class instead of having to jump up and jump the Maui Jim Welcome today.
That would also be nice for some younger riders getting the opportunity to jump FEI without the pressure of tonight's class.
Yeah, that's right. Nice to see Shelley Fellers in the prizes. She picks up 12th place here with Revenge. First big class back for those 2 that I've seen.
Oh, I think I see them walking up now. Should just be a moment.
Yep, Andrew, there's no doubt about it. He knows what he needs to do. He's already won the class. That's for sure. Just has to think about the horse that he's on now. It's got to be a nice sense of freedom, really. You win anyway. You get one more shot at winning, even better.
He'll get good ranking points today, too, for 2 horses in the top out of 60.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, there he comes.
There we are. Miss Andrew Ramsey and Stranger. 10-year-old gelding coming into the ring. Oh, little spook there. That's the turn back to fence 7 that he's going to look at. Just head over quickly and check out the shadow on the side by the VIP tent as well. Make sure that Stranger is no stranger to the shadows. It's a spooky thing. Just checking out everything along the way on the way to number 1. And Andrew's up and over the first jump, rolling back. The Oxer at 7.
Already quite a bit wider than his first horse. Oh,
Definitely,
and he's had
he
that
does
down.
have one down, so now I guess the pressure is on at least to be under the time allowed and not hit anything else.
He's picked up the pace now a bit. Oh, we're getting some argument.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
he's such a smooth rider.
He's not far away from his own leading time. He's at 26 seconds landing from the Longines Oxer. Cockadoodle was at 25. Doesn't need to catch Cockadoodle in order to win. He just needs to make sure he doesn't have time faults to take home first and second. Oh, a little difficulty on the rollback, but coming home, if he leaves it up, he's 1 and 2. Yep, and he does it. There we go. So 4 faults under the time allowed. Andrew Ramsey has himself a day. Entered on 3 horses. He scratched with his first one, who was actually his most experienced mount. Didn't need to jump this class. And the 2 young guns, they do it for him, taking home first and second. First with Cockadoodle and second with Stranger for American rider Andrew Ramsey. We see Antonio Mauro taking home 3rd place with Cartier, Laura Jane Tidball in 4th with Prim de la Roe, the last of our clear round in the first round. $600 Maui Jim welcome. Those our top riders also get Maui Jim sunglasses for their efforts here today, which they will need, as the sun is still blazing up in the sky. 59 starters, 4 clears. We get prepared for the rest of the week here at beautiful Thunderbird Show Park in Langley, British Columbia. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Alex Creighton for my wife Holly. Take care and we'll see you again.